So I've been just watching some TikToks there and there, and consequently, just like everybody else, we all have a shitty job that we just don't want to work at all, and just wants to do like a 2 week notice, all that good shit. For me, being a manager in my field, I usually just tell my employees like, hey, be professional about how you do your 2 weeks or how you do any of your short notices because you may never know when you have to come back to work. And one of my employees did had to come back to work and my job force, so it's just like, yeah, proud of her doing the 2 weeks, but I don't understand the purpose of 2 weeks. Like I'm getting like it's like mixed stuff about 2 weeks notice and everything and just giving like company like any time or anything like of that matter of like should I even give the people who hired me any of the short notice because a lot of the time, and I made this argument like a while ago that it wasn't really how the culture. I feel like it's just more so of like a culture things and just like how the times are with jobs and everything, and people like quiet quitting and everything, and if nobody knows what it is, like with 2 week notices, let me just break it down to you simply. Giving a 2 week notice is just the most professional thing theoretically you would do at your workforce when you decided it's time to leave from whatever company or any job that you're currently working at. It's more so recommended and more professional that you give a 2 weeks notice of you officially leaving with that company, and they're supposed to give you these 2 weeks to find a new job, better opportunities and all that stuff, and that's great. That's great that like you give them a notice to make it so professional that, if you do ever decide to come back, they would, theoretically would let you come back with open arms of like no type of issue or anything. And also to give you those 2 week notice of, hey, I'm looking for a job, I'm going to be leaving in 2 weeks, or hey, I have found this new opportunity, but I'm going to be professional and just wait and just work for 2 more weeks to give, my last regards to like my coworkers and all that. And them, ideally them as an employer should like, yeah, we're gonna let you find a job for those 2 weeks. We're gonna let you do what you gotta do for those 2 weeks, and theoretically, you should leave off on good terms of yourself as the employee and them as the employer. Theoretically, that should be a good thing. But no, we have shifted dynamically of what ideally giving a 2 week notice is. Like, I feel like ideally what I just said is not really like a bad idea. It's not really like a hard concept or anything to like follow in my opinion, because it should be more so a morality and respective thing to do as the employer, and then the employee being more professional instead of just leaving just on a short notice. But we literally just like shifted from what I just said to something that's completely terrible. But I would give the benefit of the doubt of like, I feel like this concept of like what I just described of how, the employees and everything and the employers are was a thing back in a different time. But, right now, really just not in a good state, like at all. Like right now with giving 2 weeks notice, like these employers are just being absolute dicks about how to even give your employees a full fucking 2 weeks, because we have dynamically shifted of like giving your 2 weeks to your employer is like just telling them like, hey, I'm gonna leave. But it's more so on the employer's fault of like doing these shitty and tactical things that other companies fall in line of doing. Like, I don't think I ever heard any professional like employers like treat their people right of how they give their short notices and or give them notices or anything. It's usually follow these categories of like, you know a good job. Sometimes they might just fire you on the spot for no reason, not letting you fulfill those 2 weeks, which is just like diabolical in that sense. Or another one that I hate seeing my employees go through is give them short hours, like cut their hours dramatically, and not even to even want them to show up to fulfill those 2 weeks. And it's just like, it's literally just like a whole dick move, because it's just like, these people are working them hours because they need their hours for whatever that they need. People got bills, people got lives, like they need those hours, and they need to fulfill those 2 weeks to make sure, hey, I'm set up for the next 2 weeks to get my bills and everything. It's just like I scratch my back, you scratch yours, but it's more so of like you scratch the company's back and they're not doing anything for you of that matter. If they're gonna they're gonna quit, they're gonna leave in 2 weeks. Okay, let me just cut their hours. For what reason? Or, probably just even letting them work the full first week, or like, and probably just not let them work afterwards. Probably just schedule them like one day, and that's just gonna force them to like fucking even want to continue working for that company. That just gives them all more so the reason. I'm just trying to understand why have we as a society came to the conclusion like this is the most appropriate way to treat the employer of that matter. But there might be some cases where it is probably deserved of like cutting hours, but it's just like for a more morality reason of something so simple as like giving them their 2 weeks to make it be professional. But you as the employer not being professional halfway with the employee even just doing that in the first place just makes them look just overall just terrible companies to work with. But that's what's, I guess, kind of influencing these people to even just quit immediately, or just fucking just no give any notices at all, or just like immediately just leave the job. Because in my opinion, that just seems to be the more practical move that everybody is going with. Just rather leave and not give any notices, because what does that even do for people right now in this current pandemic that we're in with the workforce? Literally just leave and find something better. And people, no, not people are always like, you may not know if you ever need to come back to the job. It's just like, okay, but it's just like, what has the job ever done to you? Like, let's say a bad job, like you worked at a bad customer service job, you were treated like crap. So it's like more understandable if you don't give a 2 weeks notice, or if you just effectively just leave immediately. It's like one of those things of like you got to make those choices. But some people, or I don't want to say some, a good majority of people that I know don't regret not giving any notices, because there's no point to even going back to a shitty toxic environment. Every job is different and everything, but I feel like a bottom line is it should just be like a law, or even just be respected in a sort of way of like doing that. Because if there's no point of giving any notices, there's no reason to respect their company, the company that they're working with, and how they run their whole operation. And people are always afraid of that too, to give those notices, because like I said, hours might get cut, or they might get fired immediately. And that whole thing, it's like, why is that even appropriate? Like, if they claim, oh, you're easily replaceable, but not really backing it up with even finding someone to replace, immediately, it's like, man, you can't even back up exactly what you claim. And I hate those sayings of like companies saying, oh, you're easily replaceable, but when they give their notices, literally just doesn't treat their last employees' days right, or not even finding people. I see that that's happening commonly around the world with that. But people have different perspectives on things like that. I just want more so of like the concept of how professional is supposed to be, and it should just be kept like that all the way. But this, I'm just talking about mostly of like negative things of what companies do those things. I'm not saying it goes for all whatever workforce are going into. It's just the morality fact that like, yes, it is recommended and it's professional doing it. So the employee, no, not even the employee, because the employer is being professional about it. So why not, them being professional and being halfway to fulfill that, and not be a shitty dirtbag and to cut them out like that. It's gonna make them seem like the bad guy and have a bad reputation of how they even allow their employees to leave. Because if you're gonna say and do all that, what makes them think they're going to put this job as one of the jobs they might come back to? It's like you got to be reliable. The job has to be reliable of like how they're allowing and okaying with you leaving in the most professional way, but you may not know if the time's ever right to ever come back to that same set job before, because some starter jobs, maybe those same jobs that they might come back to, but depending on how you treat your employees, and those 2 week notices are also really important. It's not more so the employee doing it, it's more so the employer of fulfilling and accepting a request and not treat their last days like hell. For what reason? Because it's not going to look good on their image, and it's going to look good for their image of how shit they're talking about it. So all that good stuff. I just hope that some type of change happens like this soon, because for me personally, I feel like it's not looking too good of like when I am with younger people than me and advising them to do these things. I'm just like trying to leave a good impression of like, you should do this because it will help you out, and it should be professional on your part, and it overall it's just like a moral thing, good thing to do, as the employee. But again, employers are just douchebags that don't know how to fucking treat their employees right. It's mostly just their fault on the end of the day of how they treat their employees, whether or not they will let them go or fulfill those 2 weeks, which is bonkers. But it is what it is in this world. Let me know what you guys think about the 2 week notices, or even giving any notices at all, regardless of what job that you go to. If you guys think if it's shifted, if we just treat it wholly differently now, or if it should go back to like the original consummate roots in a more positive way, or what you guys think about the negative aspects that I talked about, if that's some of the stuff that's true, or if it's more so of what I was talking about that's still continuing getting worse and worse each year. But yeah, I want to know all your guys' opinions on that. But anyways, guys, my name is SonaGhost239, and I hope y'all have a wonderful morning, night, day, evening, whatever the occasion is. Take care, stay safe, and all that good jazz. But anyways, guys, later.